Welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video lecture, we are going to answer the next questions from Airfield chapter in Aircraft Performance, Keith Williams' book. I hope you have been watching the previous video lectures that I have already uploaded to my channel. Consistency is very important, so watch all the videos from the very beginning. Now, let's start with a new question. The minimum acceptable semi-width for a stopway is what? So we have a runway. Let's say this is your runway. At the end of the runway, there will be a stopway. So what will be the width or breadth of this stopway? So the width of this stopway should be as big as or as same as that of the runway. So it should be in conjunction or in alignment with the runway. Okay. So correct answer is always option alpha, the same as that of the runway. Next. Which of the following are limited to 50% of the runway length? Remember, clearway cannot be more than 50% or can't exceed 50% of runway length, that is takeoff run available. What is takeoff distance? It is nothing but takeoff run available plus clearway. So takeoff run plus 50% of clearway. So takeoff distance will be 150% of takeoff run available. 150% of takeoff run available. TODA. So the correct answer is 50% of the runway length clearway. Okay, remember this. I have explained this in my previous video lectures. So this is your runway. This is your stopway. And this will be your clearway. Okay. 63. Where does the clearway start? So the end of takeoff distance, end of takeoff runway or takeoff run, the end of runway, the end of the stopway. Okay. So remember, the stopway or this clearway will always end at the end of takeoff run available. At the end of takeoff run available. So option Bravo. Which of the following would not limit the length of the stopway? So option Charlie. This 50% of the takeoff runway available is a limitation imposed on clearway. Your clearway can't exceed 50% of your takeoff run available measurement. All the other options, a ditch or depression, if there is a ditch, a depression, whatever that is, so you cannot, so that will be a restriction or limitation on construction of a stopway. Okay, so that is one thing. A reduction in load bearing strength. Now, the main purpose of the stopway is to stop that aircraft immediately. Okay, once your aircraft decides to abort takeoff, and it has to be brought to a full stop within the available runway distance or at least available stopway distance. It cannot go beyond that and cannot go beyond the boundaries of the airport. So it has to be brought to a full stop, and therefore the stopway, the construction of the stopway, the materials of which it is made must be strong enough, robust enough to bear the load of that aircraft. Okay. So a reduction in load bearing strength, if the materials that you are using for stopway are not designed for bearing excessive loads, that will be another drawback, another limitation associated with that stopway. An obstacle, if there is any obstacle around the runway in the airport within the airport boundaries somewhere, so again that will be an obstacle, a hindrance to the construction of a stopway. So these three conditions or the situations influence uh, the length of the stopway. Okay. 65. What percentage of pavement classification number would be considered acceptable for aircraft classification number for emergency operations? Now, what is aircraft classification number? Aircraft classification number signifies the loads that will be imposed by this particular aircraft on the runway. Whenever it lands, that that great load imposed on the runway when aircraft establishes a contact with the ground surface, right? Pavement classification number is a number which signifies the loads, maximum loads that this particular runway can tolerate, okay, can withstand, bear, whatever. Okay, so one is the loads imposed, another is loads accepted or loads received. So remember, aircraft classification number should never exceed, should never exceed performance or correction, pavement classification number of the runway. If aircraft classification number exceeds pavement classification number and that particular heavy aircraft, okay, lands on that particular weak runway, there will be a damage caused to the runway. Okay, there will be structural damage to aircraft landing gear as well. That's why aircraft classification number must be well within pavement classification number in order to ensure guarantee safety, right? Now, in exceptional situations like in emergency operations, when you have to land somewhere, and let's suppose the aircraft classification number exceeds the pavement classification number of the runway you're aiming for. Okay, so that is allowable only in emergency situations, because in emergency mayday scenarios you have to land. Okay, so in such scenarios, aircraft classification number may exceed may exceed the performance correction pavement classification number by 50%, by 50%. Okay, so what percentage of payment classification number would be considered acceptable for emergency operations? So it can exceed, so payment classification number will be aircraft classification number plus 50% of payment classification number. So aircraft classification okay, so the final answer will be 150% of payment classification number. Okay, so over 150%. Option Charlie. Next, what might TORA on the diagram below? What might be the takeoff run available if CD is the stopway? If CD is the stopway. So CD is your stopway, right? Takeoff run available. So this is your stopway. So this will be your takeoff run available. BC will be your takeoff run available. So option Bravo. It's not option Bravo. They are talking about takeoff run available. So it will be A से लेके C. Option AC takeoff run available. BC takeoff run available. So we do not have AC. AB we have BC. So better to select option Bravo. Now in case of displaced threshold, BC will be your landing distance available and AC will be your takeoff run available, but we do not have that option. So select option Bravo BC. 67. What might be takeoff distance available? Now takeoff distance available is takeoff run available plus clearway, right? If BC is the runway. So here BC is your runway, meaning it is your takeoff run available. So if BC is your runway, CD becomes your stopway. CE, Charlie Echo becomes your clearway because here is your obstacle. Clearway ends where obstacle starts. So takeoff distance available is takeoff run available BC plus clearway, which is Charlie Echo. So BC plus CE is nothing but BE, Bravo Echo. So delta. Next. What might be the acceleration stop distance available if Charlie Echo is the clear way, so this Charlie Echo CE is your clear way. So accelerate stop distance क्या है? Now accelerate stop distance is takeoff runway available, takeoff run available plus stop way. So if CE is your stop way, CD will be your CE is your clear way, CD will be your stop way. If CD is your stop way, C Bravo will be your runway. So final answer BC plus CD, which is equal to BD. BD. Option Charlie, Bravo Delta. Next. What might be the emergency distance available? Emergency distance available is nothing but accelerate stop distance available, takeoff run available plus stop way. BC is the runway. So BC is your runway. CD is your stop way. So accelerate stop distance will be Bravo Delta. Option Charlie. Last, or over what distance on the diagram below must the surface be capable of supporting the weight of aircraft if BC is the runway? So BC is the runway. So runway must be able to support the weight of aircraft, very common. And then we have stopway. The stopway is also designed to support the weight of aircraft in order to bring it to a full stop in the event of cancelled takeoff, aborted takeoff, right? So on over what distance must the surface be capable of supporting the weight if BC is the runway? So beginning from Bravo to Delta, it must be able to support the weight of aircraft. So Charlie. Okay. So I hope you have understood these 10 simple, easy questions. Let me know your feedback, comments, questions in the comment box of this video lecture. In my next video lecture, I will solve the last 10 questions from this chapter. So don't miss that. I hope to see you there.